Hey girls, welcome back to another wonderful week of Farby and 10. These next upcoming weeks are very exciting. The month of Adar is approaching, and we know that it says Misha Nichnas Adar Marbin Besimcha, that when the month of Adar approaches, we increase in our joy. As Hasidim, that was something that was very close to our heart and something that wasn't very difficult to incorporate. As a matter of fact, Hasidim, before they got their name Hasidim, people used to call them der Freilicher, the happy ones. So with that being said, let us try to get a little bit of an insight and the secret of what makes Hasidim so joyful and how could we acquire more simcha in our life as the month of Adar approaches. So number one is to realize that simcha is our nature. It's not that, we have different sides to us and sometimes we're happy and sometimes we're sad. Our neshama is happy. Our neshama is a part of Hashem and it's joyful. As a matter of fact, when you look at children are always joyful. And even when something upsets them, very quickly they become joyful once again. But sadly, as life continues and we get older, there are different things in our life that start to get us a little jaded and we start to become less happy. If statistics have shown that children smile a couple of 100 times a day, and adults, so much less. So number one is to remember that our nature is to be besimcha. And once we know that, we can take step two. Step two is our perspective, the way we perceive things that happen to us in our life. Imagine of a person who couldn't see his father for many years. As a matter of fact, when he got married, his parents couldn't be at his wedding. When he was married for many years and didn't have any children. He escaped the Holocaust, barely, but thankfully, and sadly left many family members back in Europe and perished in the Holocaust. What would that man look like? If we pictured a person like that, you would think their head would be bent over, they would be sad, depressed. But just think about that description for a moment, and all of those descriptions is the Rebbe. The Rebbe left many family members behind, couldn't see his parents for many years, didn't see his father for even more, and by the time he left Europe, his father passed away. Came to America, married for many years, and didn't have any children. Later on, became the Rebbe of a generation post-Holocaust, and a generation of where 75% of American Jews are assimilating. How depressing. Yet when we think of the Rebbe, we think of joy and just so much happiness and so much simcha. And anyone who ever saw the Rebbe, and even when you watch a video of the Rebbe, you see that there was so much joy that was emanating from the Rebbe, and the Rebbe had this power to be able to share that joy with others. Number two, it's all in our perspective to realize that the word in English of happiness comes from the word it happened to be. If I happen to be in the right place in life, I have good friends and I have wealth and I have health and everything works out for me, then I could be happy. But Yiddishkeit says that's not what brings joy. What ultimately brings joy is be-machshava. Be-simcha is the same letters as machshava. That my mind, my thought process, how I perceive things, ultimately that's how I can truly be happy. So in Harvard University, they had a class that was offered, how to find true happiness. Now these are people who have so much wealth, affluence, very intelligent, a lot going for them. And ironically, this class was so popular that the parents wanted to join this class, and it was so full they had to close registration. Why? Because what is the secret to this happiness that people were so desperately searching for? What's that joy that people want to find? So a man once wrote to the Rebbe and he says, Rebbe, although I'm married and although I have children, I haven't had one happy day in my life. I haven't had one happy day in my life. And the Rebbe wrote back to him and he said, it's so true what the rabbis say. A man can have so much, just like Adam, who had everything he needed in the world. Yet that one little tree that he couldn't eat from, that's what bothered him. And a man could have nothing And there were so many people in the Holocaust that lost everything. But when they would wake up in the morning and open their eyes, they would say, Maida ani lefanecha, thank you Hashem for just making me alive. Thank you Hashem that I can see and that I could breathe. It's all our perspective. And the third one is embracing our mission. When we realize that we have a purpose and we have a mission to accomplish, and we know that Hashem gave us gifts and talents in order to accomplish that mission, that in itself should give us a sense of joy, a sense of serenity, a sense of accomplishment, because we know who we are and we know what we need to accomplish. There was once the Queen of England was having a meeting with the Prime Minister. Her name was Margaret Thatcher. And every single time they would meet together for once a week, and one time the Prime Minister had the biggest offense. She had the same outfit as the Queen, and she felt horrible. What an offense, what a crime. So she wrote a letter to the Queen, and she says, Dear Queen, I'm so sorry for the fact that I wore the same outfit as you. I apologize, and I will make sure that that never happens again. The Queen wrote back a letter just with a couple of lines, and it says as follows: Dear Margaret, don't worry. The Queen never notices the clothing of commoners. Love, the Queen. When we realize that we have a mission and a purpose, we don't have to look elsewhere. We don't have to look at other people's lives. Girls, you are the daughter of Hashem. You are the Queen. We don't have to scroll down our social media pages and look at other people's lives and look at them and say, oh, it looks like it's so much more exciting and so much more exhilarating, and they went on so many more trips. Ma toivu ahalacha Yaakov. Look at our own lives. Statistics and studies have shown that when we look at other people's lives, the depressing rate goes down by so much. We're so much less happier. We're so much more jealous. Our self-esteem goes down. Let's look at our own life, at our own mission and a purpose, and we have so much to accomplish. We are the daughter of the King. So I want to conclude with a story. These past couple of weeks have been very difficult for many of us. We all prayed for the recovery of Yehudis Dukes, the father of 6 beautiful children, and his wife, Sarah Dukes. And we made achlatas, and we davened, and we hoped that a miracle would happen. And it didn't. And during Shiva, Sarah, Yehudis' wife, wrote on social media, and she wrote as follows: I'm really sad by the fact that Hashem let us down. A painful cry. It was all ready. It was all set. The doctors were ready for the miracle. They did everything in their power. We did everything in our power. And we didn't have the results that we wanted. And a couple of days later, she continued to write, and she said as follows: We have no idea Hashem's ways. Who are we to understand Hashem's ways? When a person passes away, the Aron is carried with people escorting the neshama up on high. And as the neshama is being led up on high, Hashem also needs his escorts. He needs carriers as well. He needs carriers to carry the Beis HaMikdash down here on this world, in this world. And Sarah continues to say, if Hashem would turn to me and say, Sarah, are you ready for Yehudi to be one of those carriers of the Beis HaMikdash? Would you take up on the offer? I would say, Hashem, in a heartbeat, let Yehudi and myself be the sacrifice, and let him go through all that he went through, and even the passing that he went through, in order for him to be one of those carriers for the Beis HaMikdash. And she concluded, who are we to understand Hashem's ways? Who are we to understand Hashem's ways? So I want to make a l'chaim to every single one of us. As the month of Adar is approaching, let us increase in our joy. And let us always remember that ultimately, everything that happens is for the best. And Hashem wants only the best for us. And to always remind ourselves that ultimately our nature is to be besimcha. We are happy people. We are a chelik elokah. We are part of Hashem. And number 2, it's all our perspective. It's not what we have in life, but how we look at it in our life. And number 3 is to remind ourselves that ultimately it's the knowledge and the knowing that when we have a mission and a purpose, we are going to accomplish it, and we are going to bring the Beis HaMikdash, and Amir Tashem will watch Yudi carrying that Beis HaMikdash down here in this world. L'chaim, and we should continue to have only joy. Ki b'simcha seitzeu. We're going to march out of Galus with the ultimate coming of Mashiach, with all joy and happiness. L'chaim.
We want Mashiach now.